Greetings one and all. Okay, well, welcome to the first one of my series of what I'm calling Anthony's Rambles. You may be wondering why I'm sitting in the bushes next to a big, huge piece of rose quartz. Well, it's to add a little bit of authenticity to the video. Well, I first came across rose quartz early on, as many do, in my crystal journey. My crystal journey began when my ex-partner started to get crystals, and I sort of asked, well, hey, what's the deal with these crystals? She says, oh, they've got healing and things like that. And at the time I was like, oh, rubbish, that sounds like a load of twaddle. And but I did take an interest in them. I found that they looked interesting, and I went to the library, looked up some geological books, and even marked and wrote down some names of crystals that really held my interest. So I thought, hey, it might be good to even maybe purchase some of these crystals. At the time, I was working in IT, in a huge government computing network, and so I was a fairly logical individual as a result, and everything was sort of ABC 1, 2, 3, everything fit neat and tidily into a box for me, and life was grand. These crystals they didn't make sense. They didn't fit in a box. The energies, I realized they were there, but I was initially very confused about them. So I went on a crystal familiarization course. It was just a little 2-hour course on, initially using crystals. Earlier that day, I'd been working on one of my motorcycles, and I managed to puncture my finger with quite a sharp tool. And it was right on the part of the finger where throughout the rest of the day I put my hand down and, ouch, there it is, you've punctured your finger. So anyway, I was doing this course, and one of the exercises was to simply hold a piece of rose quartz and meditate a little with it, and then describe to the class, well, what were your feelings with this rose quartz? So this was all very unfamiliar ground for me. So I did do that, and then after I had held the rose quartz for a while, I caught myself drumming my fingers on the desk. And I thought, hey, just a moment, why can't I feel that puncture wound from earlier in the day? So I looked at my fingers, and I just couldn't see it. Then I started grinding my thumbnail into the tips of my fingers looking for this puncture wound, and I just couldn't find it. I couldn't feel it. I was dumbfounded. So, admittedly the next morning I did find a little puncture wound, but the pain had completely gone. And this was very much a this does not compute moment for me, but it did start to open my eyes to the power of crystals, and in this case the crystal we're talking about is rose quartz. Yes, so rose quartz, it comes in sort of all sorts of shapes and sizes. For the most part, rose quartz forms in what's called massive form, which is like a rock, sort of shapeless rock form, and is often cut into shapes like wands and spheres and eggs and so on. There is a very rare type of quartz called rose quartz called crystallized rose quartz, and we'll cover that in a bit more detail in another part of the video. So I have a few samples of rose quartz here, and let's just discuss a little bit how one might use these different types of rose quartz and incorporate it into their daily lives. So we'll start off with this piece here. This is one of my personal pieces, and I picked it up from a couple of really just delightful old ladies at the New Zealand National Gem Show many years ago, and it's just a gorgeous piece. But with this sort of piece, I just generally have it next to my bed. It helps me with dreaming, and just promotes calmness, serenity, and sort of love right beside me while I'm asleep and in the room. Another personal piece of mine is this one here, and This is a fairly unique crystal. It's one I would use for meditation. It has crystallized rose quartz on top of a citrine cathedral. So again, this is one I would use for meditation and just working with it in that way. And this tiny little piece here, this is another piece of crystallized rose quartz that I use, and I use this to make elixirs, and it's quite possibly it may be the smallest piece I have, but it's also probably one of the most powerful and effective pieces that I have. I can cover elixirs in another video. So this here is a double terminated wand. It's a very gemmy piece. It most likely comes from Madagascar. Madagascar does produce a lot of very clear rose quartz, which is fairly special. As you can see, it has a point at both ends. One could use it as reflexology, just to manipulate the reflexology points or the acupuncture points. You can just use it gently to stroke and massage, like so on. Of course you can use it for meditation, all sorts of things, whatever comes to mind really. Generally, with crystals, if it feels right, it is right. This is another rose quartz wand I just happen to have, and it's got rounded ends, so it hasn't got the sharp points, but you can still use it on the reflexology points in the face. You can visualize the pink coming through the wand, use it for colour therapy. You can do this with any rose quartz shape at all. And these have been popular over recent years, the ever popular rose quartz facial wand as they call them, but you can use them on any part of the body at all. Again, it generally helps, like if you can visualize the pink colour as you roll it along, if you can visualize that going into your body, it sort of amplifies the process somewhat. You can use things like rose quartz eggs and rose quartz spheres also, again, for massage and also for meditation, or just sitting calmly with, or just having it in your presence. So the rose quartz just radiates that gorgeous pink earth love around, makes it available for you, for you, your pets, your household, heck, the whole neighbourhood. These are just some of the things you can do with rose quartz. As mentioned previously, rose quartz forms in two ways. The first way is crystallized, which is very rare, and I'll cover that in detail later. The other way is the massive form, which you see on your screen right now. And this rose quartz has cooled down very quickly and has inclusions like titanium in, which gives it the pink colour that you see. This is the quartz that is cut and polished into all sorts of various shapes. Now the main two locations that this rose quartz comes from is both Brazil and Madagascar. The Brazilian rose quartz can be a little more pink, but is more opaque in the way that you can't see through it, whereas the Madagascan rose quartz has more clarity but quite often less colour. Both rose quartzes can actually come with what they call stars, which is inclusions of rutilated quartz, which give the appearance of a six-pointed star when held underneath the light or underneath the sun. Crystallized rose quartz comes from a small island in a large river running through Quartz, Minas Gerais, Brazil. Thus it is very rare and very exquisite. To complicate things a bit more, crystallized rose quartz more often than not has a coating of a combination of crusty looking white calcite quartz. Thus clean examples of crystallized rose quartz are exceedingly rare. Crystallized rose quartz crystals are small yet immensely powerful tools that bring beautiful loving changes to one's life. This is the perfect form of rose quartz to use as an elixir. Some of the benefits you will get over the massive form of rose quartz is the geometrical, vibrational side of the rose quartz crystals themselves. Crystallized rose quartz often forms alongside or even on smoky quartz, milky quartz,
citrine quartz, and celestial quartz crystals. The rose quartz energy interacts with the properties of these other varieties of quartz, enhancing their properties with the vibration of pure love. An example would be crystallized rose quartz with smoky quartz will ground the vibration of unconditional love in all aspects of the self. The tenacious crystal collector energy worker will be able to find this special crystal. It is fairly costly over the price of massive rose quartz, but the benefits are well worth it. Rose quartz is a master healer on many levels. It teaches us that everything is love. You may place a rose quartz on your heart and imagine yourself breathing in the colour. Let your mind relax, and it can help show you the true situation behind the issues that trouble you. Through this understanding, you can release these issues. It is especially good for soothing babies. Keep a piece near their cot or bed at night or at other sleeping times. It makes for a powerful gridding crystal too. Place a piece at each corner of your property and, if possible, a piece in the middle, and you will be amazed at the difference in the energy that you will feel. As an elixir, rose quartz cleanses and rejuvenates your kidneys. It can also give you a level of protection against background radiation. Rose quartz is the cornerstone of any crystal healing collection, a must-have. Because it is so common, it can be an easy one to overlook. However, given the chance, rose quartz will time and time again prove its worth as a true master healer.